गुड न्यूज टुडे, नई उम्मीद जगाने वाला हिंदी न्यूज चैनल।
You're watching India Today with me, Nabila Jamal, and that's our top focus. Lyricist and film writer Javed Akhtar landed himself in trouble for his recent remarks comparing the RSS and the VHP with Taliban. Irked BJP workers have staged a protest right in front of his house, demanding an apology within 24 hours. If not, they threatened that they will not allow his films to release. Here's more on that.
A massive face-off on streets of Mumbai. BJP going all guns blazing against Bollywood scriptwriter and lyricist Javed Akhtar for his remarks comparing RSS, VHP and their followers with the Taliban in Afghanistan. From Jai Shri Ram to shoot the traitors chants, renting the air outside Javed Akhtar's Juhu house. Saffron Party workers protested, seeking an unconditional apology from Javed Akhtar.
जावेद अख्तर ने 24 घंटे के अंदर माफी नहीं मांगी, उन्होंने अपना जो हम सभी हिंदुओं का अपमान किया, जो हमें ठेस पहुंचाई, अगर उसके संदर्भ में उन्होंने माफी नहीं मांगी, ये आंदोलन और तेज से होगा, पूरे मुंबई से लोग यहाँ जमा होंगे और उनका विरोध जल्द कराएंगे।
BJP workers also tried to burn his effigy. However, Mumbai police intervened and foiled the plan. The controversy stems back to Javed Akhtar's recent interview to a news portal, where he drew parallels between the RSS, VHP and Taliban. He said that Taliban is barbaric, their actions are reprehensible, but those who are supporting RSS, VHP and Bajrang Dal are all the same. Akhtar even said the right-wing organizations follow ideology of Hitler. These comments have not gone down well with the BJP. Party leader Ram Kadam came down heavily on the writer and said that he won't allow the screening of his films until he tenders an apology to the Sangh workers.
Mr. Javed Akhtar should know that the RSS, Vishva Hindu Parishad, all our karyakartas, they are sacrificing their life for seva, to helping needy, less fortunate people. Without knowing anything, he cannot compare RSS workers or Vishwa Hindu Parishad workers with Talibans.
हिंदू समाज की भावनाओं को ठेस पहुंचाने के लिए उन्होंने हिंदू समाज की माफी मांगनी चाहिए, अपना स्टेटमेंट वापस लेना चाहिए। जावेद अख्तर जी को मैं इतना ही कहना चाहता हूं, हिंदू समाज के सहनशीलता का आप अंत मत देखिए।
Javed Akhtar, on the other hand, is getting support from the opposition parties. The CPI called the Saffron Camp Indian version of the Taliban.
What Javed Akhtar ji told is 100% true. Those people who are now preaching high-sounding words in this country, from the ruling sides, from the RSS BJP camp, they are, in their mind of minds, are the Indian version of Talibanism.
Taliban takeover of Afghanistan seems to have divided the Bollywood. Earlier, veteran actor Naseeruddin Shah had condemned Indians who were celebrating Taliban's victory and creating disturbance in India.
अफगानिस्तान में तालिबान का दोबारा हुकूमत पा लेना दुनिया भर के लिए फिक्र का बायस है। इससे कम खतरनाक नहीं है हिंदुस्तानी मुसलमानों के कुछ तबकों का उन वहशियों की वापसी पर जश्न मनाना।
Lyricist Javed Akhtar has not spoken to media since the time this controversy has come to light. On the other hand, Bharatiya Janata Party continues to protest and put pressure on the lyricist to issue an apology. If he doesn't do so, they will not stop protesting against him. With camera person Hemant Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai for India Today.
All right, and that's our top focus. Javed Akhtar's comment has created quite a stir among many of the BJP workers who've gathered around right in front of his house, protested relentlessly and have warned him if he does not tendered apology in 24 hours' time, then they will ensure none of his movies will release. I have with me joining us on the panel today, Binoy Vishwam, who's the MP, Rajya Sabha and senior leader of the CPI. We have Sanju Verma, who's the spokesperson of the BJP, and Sanjana John, who's a fashion designer, has her opinion on the same. Let me start with Sanju Verma. Ms. Sanju Verma, you have BJP workers threatening Javed Akhtar, saying in 24 hours, if he does not give out an apology, his films will not be allowed to release. Do you back that statement?
You know, I personally feel that Javed Akhtar, he needs to be slightly more circumspect. And as they say, discretion is the better part of valor. But I think, Javed Akhtar shows no signs of discretion, no signs of making statements which are responsible. I would just like to tell you one thing. Javed Akhtar put out a tweet in April 2020 where he said that for the actions of a mad fringe, the entire community cannot be called out for bigotry. And if anyone tries to shame an entire community, then he or she is a bigot and not a rationalist. He was trying to defend radical Islam when he put out this tweet. So going by Javed Akhtar's logic, I want to ask him, on what grounds has he compared the RSS with Taliban? Javed Akhtar ji, through India Today, I want to ask you, did your daughter Zoya Akhtar go to college or not? Is your wife Shabana Azmi still working in movies or not? Whereas Taliban ruled Afghanistan between 1996 and 2001, television, movies, music were banned. Girls were not allowed to go to schools or colleges. Women were not allowed to work. If women chose to even drive, they were whiplashed and publicly executed. Their arms and legs were amputated. So I just want to ask, what is this insane comparison between RSS and Taliban? And Nabila, for those who are ignorant, let me remind them that RSS runs more than 51,000 Ekal Vidyalaya schools and more than 17,000 Vidya Bharati and Shishu Mandir schools. And yes, most of these are affiliated to the CBSE, and more than 60 lakh tribal young boys and girls are given virtually free education in these institutions.
Right.
Now tell me, how many schools or colleges does Taliban run?
Let me take that question to Binoy Vishnam then. And thankfully, Ms. Sanju, thankfully we are governed by the constitution and we are a democracy. So even if any group turned into a fringe element or a hardline group, they would not have the kind of leeway they do in India, because we are a democracy, and thankfully so. Binoy Vishnam, here you have Javed Akhtar making quite a shocking statement, and you've backed it thoroughly, saying that he's right. But it's shocking because you have the Taliban using arms, ammunition, suppressing women like never before, killing those who question their authority, and we don't see that kind of behavior here in India. Of course, there are some fringe groups who are extremes, who have indulged in violence, but comparing them to Taliban, don't you think it's a bit too much?
The simple reason is that we are India. We are Indians. And we have a constitution which upholds the greatness of this country, the pluralism, the diversity, and above all, the secular feelings of this great nation. That is why Talibanism cannot act as they like in India. And that difference is a big difference. Those friends in the BJP and the RSS who shout loud against Javed Akhtar should know that their language, their tone and their term just do not suit with the ethos of this great nation. This great nation is
what makes you say that, Mr. Binoy?
It is not but to a dark way of thoughts. It is for the wider thoughts. It is standing for the Loka Samasta Sukhino Avandu ideology. And that ideology is very important for India for today and for tomorrow. Talibanism of any creeds, maybe Talibanism of that style among the Muslims, among the Hindus, among the Christians, whatever it is against the religion, against the believers, against the gods also. And that is the essence of what Javed was telling. And I think every sensible man in this country or woman in this country who understand the meaning of India and the essence and philosophy of the Constitution, they will uphold the views raised by the great man of ours, that is, Lyricist Javed Akhtar. I very strongly say that the words of the BJP friends, RSS friends, are very much disappointed for this nation. Let this country continue as India.
All right. I'm also going to get in Sanjana John here. Sanjana, you seem to be in the view of the fact that what Javed Akhtar has said is not entirely wrong. And why would you say that? What's your opinion on what Javed Akhtar has said, likening Bajrang Dal, RSS, VHP? And let me remind you, they've done, at least the RSS have done great work in terms of feeding the poor through and through. Through the years that they've done good work. Let's not ignore that fact. And now you can tell me, what exactly do you feel when he compares them with the Taliban?
Oh, absolutely. I beg to differ. My point was that we as a democracy, we value human rights. We stand for girl child education. And our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has been propagating, promoting and pushing that. So my whole point is, how can the comparison to a country where women are being killed for the want of their rights? It's completely comparing apples to oranges. Here, we have the right to speak. We have the right to our thoughts, views, and most of all, we are here today talking about this, which we would not have in Afghanistan. So comparing Taliban is an extreme, I would say, a statement that was made. My only point is that here in India, the girls, especially the women movement, the empowerment is on a momentum that's being built up day to day. So the comparison should never be done. And comparing RSS, like you rightfully said, education and promoting women and employment is, on the highest, I would say agenda. It's not on the same level, and it's not right to have compared in any level.
Well, so women inclusion, women empowerment, I'm not sure if that's really a fitting topic when we speak of the RSS. And I'd like to ask Ms. Sanju Verma that this is what naysayers say, Ms. Sanju Verma. RSS or the Bajrang Dal have been quite hard on women extensively. You had the Bajrang Dal in Karnataka's Mangaluru. You know very well how they literally beat up women who went to pubs and clubs. You have RSS not very inclusive of women through and through. So this is the kind of criticism that the RSS, the Bajrang Dal gets largely. And then you have many fringe elements there in several states, including Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh very recently. You have them pinning some of them down and asking them to chant slogans of Jai Shri Ram. Let me complete. Just how you expect your statement to complete. No. I'm asking you a question. Please go on. Allow me to. No. It's not an allegation. It's a news report. It's based on facts.
You seem to be making statements under the garb of a question.
Miss Sanju Verma, I'm not sure then if you're following the facts.
I'm following facts more than you do. Come on, now ask me the question.
So that was the question. Now that was the question, you can answer. Give me your answer.
Yes. So first and foremost, what I completely dislike is the rapid hypocrisy of people from large sections of Bollywood, including Javed Akhtar. Let me remind Javed Akhtar, Nabila, through your channel. I think there are many progressive Muslims. I have many Muslim friends, and I think when people like Javed Akhtar, start speaking for the entire community, they actually do great disservice to progressive Muslims. Having said that, let me ask Javed Akhtar, beat the Charlie Hebdo attack, beat the Brussels bombing, beat the Lone Wolf attack in Sweden, beat the Mecca Medina bombings, be it the Orlando nightclub shooting, be it the Kabul bombings recently. The core philosophy behind these terror attacks is a concept called global jihad, which owes its allegiance to another concept called radical Islam. I have never seen Javed Akhtar or his wife Shabana Azmi or his son Farhan Akhtar or his son Zoya Akhtar ever denouncing radical Islam, but they have all the time in the world to give lectures on Sanatan Dharma. As you rightly said, Nabila, and Sanjana John, let me complete please. As Sanjana John also pointed out, whether it was an earthquake ages back in Gujarat, whether it was the floods in Kerala a couple of years back, whether it was the floods in Uttarakhand a couple of years back, whether it was COVID, whether it was going to one of the biggest slums in Asia in Dharavi and giving vaccines when the administration under Uddhav Thackeray was holed in their bungalows. It is the RSS volunteers who rendered selfless service.
All right.
And by
We heard your point. Ms. Sanju Verma, there is no doubt that there is no comparison. There is no doubt there is no comparison. The question to you was, that was the criticism that the RSS and the Bajrang Dal receive more often than not. But let me take the final word, as I'm short on time here, from Mr. Binoy Vishwam. Please go on, sir. Here you heard it. You have Ms. Sanju Verma singing praises of the RSS, the Bajrang Dal, the VHP have very visibly done great work. Allow him to complete, ma'am.
I'm not singing praises,
Mr. Binoy.
Nabila. I'm giving out facts.
Yeah, so that's precisely what I said. You are singing praises. I don't see why you're looking at this as sarcasm. Allow the other panelists to speak, please. Mr. Binoy, please go on.
That you were being sarcastic.
Ma'am, allow the other guests also.
I heard.
Yes, but if you make an allegation, I have the right to rebut.
Ma'am, there is no allegation.
I have a small request to her. Please kindly allow me to speak, because I and other people were listening to her. I know that she is overall in a mood to utter high-sounding words. Maybe natural.
Your left ideology. 100 million people
All right. Can I please have Ms. Sanju Verma on hold there? Please allow Mr. Binoy to speak.
My dear sister, when we come for a discussion, please have the courtesy.
Mr. Binoy, please get to the point. We are short on time. Mr. Binoy, please get to the point.
This is why we say that the RSS is not a democratic organization. And that cadres are trained in such a way that they
I'd like you to give us examples. Why exactly would you say that they're not in favor of democracy? Why are you saying that? Give me specific instances, Mr. Binoy.
That's why they are the instrumental organization for the demolition of the Babri masjids. And even today, they are saying that it's a glorifying act of God. And I don't want to go to the details at this short period of time. I have a simple question to her. My question is that why there is no woman member in the RSS? There is not even a single woman in the RSS.
Can you denounce
why the RSS
Mao Zedong's philosophy? I challenge you to condemn the PFI. In Kerala, the PFI is being given legitimacy by the left government. Do you have
this undoubtedly is a never-ending conversation. Ms. Sanju, thank you very much. Mr. Binoy, thank you very much for your opinion. And Sanjana, of course, here you have Javed Akhtar, who says quite a shocking statement that he's made, because for one, Taliban is an outfit that has been indulged in terrorism through the decades. And we know that how they've harbored terrorist organizations, how they are armed. And these are people who have been killing people left, right and center, those who question their authority. Comparing them with the RSS, with the Bajrang Dal, is that fair? Will Javed Akhtar actually tender an apology within 24 hours? That remains to be seen. We're going to continue tracking that. But for now, it's a wrap.